Hi guys, today we're going to visit in a Space Cavern in Georgetown, Texas.
You excited, guys?
Yes!
Okay, let's go.
Yes! I'm so excited to go.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What time of the year people visit this place the most?
Yes, holidays. Yesterday was so busy. Today it was really busy. So yes, so the holidays, but spring break is the busiest. The busiest season in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So normally it's open to 12 months?
Yes. We are only closed on Easter weekend, Christmas, and Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
soda straw balcony due to these delicate formations you can see up here on the ceiling. These are formed by rainwater seeping through the soil, collecting carbon dioxide from decaying plant and animal matter, which creates a solution called carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is weak, but it is strong enough to slowly seep through limestone, which dissolves a mineral called calcite. Once this solution reaches the cave, the carbon dioxide will evaporate away. This is formed differently because there is a crack in the ceiling or the rock is at an angle, allowing the water to flow at an angle, creating this curtain-like shape. This one has a stalagmite below it, which grew into a column eventually. Now, if you look above us, this is a fossilized shell reef made up of rudous bivalves, which are these tube-like fossilized plants. 100 to 150 million years ago, this part of Texas was covered in a warm, shallow sea. As aquatic life died, it would sink to the bottom. Their shells were made out of calcite. The sediment and the water would put a lot of pressure on them, pressurizing it into Edwards limestone, which is what is all around us right now and under most of central Texas, which is pretty cool. While this room may not be the most picturesque of all the ones we'll visit today, it is one of my personal favorites because it is very geologically unique. There are 3 different types of sedimentary rock that make up this room. The first one is limestone. It's typically gray but appears reddish brown due to humic and fulvic acids from ancient soils. We have dolomite right here, which is made up of calcium magnesium carbonate and is very good at absorbing water. And then all the way up here, if you can't see it now, I will point it out later on in the tour. That is chert. Let me see if I can find some. This dark gray stuff up here. Should be, there's some little dark gray pieces you can kind of see the edges of, but I will point out some more later on. Right here is officially called the first formation room because of early exploration of the cave, but us tour guides like to call it the ice cream parlor because we have vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, and of course we're in Texas, we have to have our Texas-sized ice cream sandwich over here. All of the formations are very, very unique, and you can use your imagination to find different shapes in them. Very, very cool. This next room has a low ceiling going into it, and the floors are very wet, so please watch your step and watch your heads. Thank you. Room because, believe it or not, this is where we discovered the cave. In 1963, they wanted to build an overpass for I-35, so they had to test the geological structure of what was going on beneath it. they started drilling holes into the ground, and their drill bits kept randomly just falling through. So they decided to take a closer look, and they drilled a 2-foot wide borehole. They had a scientist actually hold on to the drill bit and ride it all the way down, which we would probably not do today. He landed right here. Now, the first thing that he noticed was this black stuff that is all over the ground. This is vatborne, better known as vat poop. But there's a bunch of calcite formations all over it, which means the bats hadn't been here for a really long time. There's also evidence of the bats in here through this staining on the ceiling. It is the same thing that would happen if a human were to touch the same spot on a rock over and over again for years and years and years. Bats have oils in their skin as well. But we could tell that they hadn't been here for a long time because there are already stalactites growing on top of it, which means that all of the oils have been washed away. It takes... So, this formation right here is actually my personal favorite in the entire cave because you can really see how uniquely and beautifully the calcite has kind of rippled down on this rock. This is called the flowstone of time. Whenever they were first discovering the cave, they wanted to test and see how old it was, so Dr. Banner from UT took a core sample from the back of it and found out that this flowstone is 400,000 years old, which is older than all of human civilization. Also, we are going to have a group passing by behind us, so if we could scoot up, make sure they have enough room, and eventually seep into the aquifer. So you may have had a cup of water straight from this rim pool right here. You never know. It's pretty cool. Larger scallops are from slower flowing water, and the smaller scallops back here are from faster flowing water. Also, all of these rocks are covered in the same vat guano that we saw earlier. And you can see a nice long strip of our cave bacon right here. Pretty cool. That is another different version of the drapery column kind of thing that we saw earlier. So, you might be thinking right now that I have just shown you a big pile of dirt, and that is because I am. But it's special because it is Ice Age dirt. During the last Ice Age, a bunch of the water was eroding away the rock up here until it eventually got so thin it couldn't hold itself up, so it collapsed in, creating a football field-sized sinkhole. It acted as nature's storm drain. It blew in debris, rock, dirt, bones, anything you could think of, until eventually it just sealed itself back up. Paleontologists came here and found 44 different species of animal bones in this cave. Some of them being very unexpected, not only for near a cave, but in North America in general, which we will go over later on in the tour. So now you can say you've seen dirt straight from the Ice Age. Pretty cool. Is you can tell them to kind of come up over here to this balcony. So this is what we like to call castle balcony because of this beautiful castle right here. Now, we have a castle, of course we have to have a king and a queen, right? So the king and the queen, they have a princess. And she meets this prince and they fall in love and they're like, oh my gosh, we need to get married, right? So the prince goes and asks the king, can I please marry your daughter? And he says, yes, if you can get my golden sock from the fire-breathing dragon. If you can get my golden sock back, you can marry my daughter. So the prince, he took his friend R2-D2, they went and they fought the dragon, they got the sock, and they brought it back to the king. He was so happy, he was like, not only can you marry my daughter, but I will make you your very own castle. They had 4 kids, and they lived happily ever after. Very true story, for sure. Very true story. Like that. These were actually the size of a modern day cow. Very, very large animals. It is also called the Megalonyx jeffersoni because Thomas Jefferson named it, which is pretty random, but fun fact. Then over here we have out of all of the animals on the wall that you would expect to survive the Ice Age, The only one that actually did is the black-tailed prairie dog. He is still alive today, not in Central Texas, but in other areas of the world. Next up, we have the saber-toothed cat. We found 2 milk teeth fossils, which are cub teeth. And you can kind of walk along with me here. Next up, we have the peccary. This was the most abundant amount of bones we found from the cave. We believe that they either lived near the cave or their prey did. They were about 3 feet tall, and 3/4 of their height was all in their long legs. We found a 16-foot long tusk from one of these. So they were very, very large animals. As we're passing by this hallway, you're going to be able to see a case with some of the fossils we have found in the cave to your left. Here in the cave, and it is called the Inner Cathedral. All of this debris here on the left is from the debris cone we saw earlier. Water would wash it down into this pit, and the water would sit here for thousands of years. So, a lot of the paleontologists thought, since all the water is washing things down, there must be a lot of bones down here, which was correct. The problem was, the bones had been sitting here wet for a very, very long time, which wasn't good conditions for them. So when they picked up the bones, they crumbled in their hands. They tried a couple different times, but had no luck. So it is a ladder that they placed in here because in the 60s, they wanted to make this a tour location. So they had to bring materials and electrical equipment down, and they hadn't blasted open the entrance yet. So this was their only option. Above this is a shed on the east side of I-35, and you can actually see the light shining through the hole if I move my flashlight away. This is another spot where you can hear cave thunder really well, so if everyone's super, super quiet, we might be able to hear some.
Be careful.
Alright everybody, this is our very last stop. This room is called Lake of the Moon, and we are about 70 feet below the surface. The cave in its entirety goes down to about 90 feet. Now, if I could have everybody sit anywhere along this rock wall for me on any of the sides, I have